Thank you very much for joining us today. We are going to be going over our Gravity Zone for MSP Cloud. This will be a short presentation with a demonstration as well right after that. Cloud Security for MSP is a cloud-based malware protection service developed by Bitdefender for computers running Microsoft Windows, Unix, and Mac operating systems. It's used as a centralized software as a service for multiple deployment models suitable for business customers while leveraging field-proven malware protection technologies developed by Bitdefender for consumer market. The security service is hosted on Bitdefender's public cloud. Subscribers have access to the web-based management interface called Control Center. From this interface, administrators can remotely install and manage malware protection on their Windows, Linux, and Mac computers. A local application called Bitdefender Endpoint Security Tools, or BEST for short, is installed on each computer. The security service is hosted on Bitdefender's public cloud. Subscribers have access to web-based management interface called Control Center, and from this interface, administrators can remotely install and manage malware protection on all their Windows and Mac computers, such as servers and workstations within the internal network, for roaming laptop endpoints, or even remote office endpoints. BEST is installed on each protected computer. Local users have limited visibility and read-only access to the security settings, and these are centrally managed by their administrator from the Control Center, while scans, updates, and configuration changes are commonly performed in the background. The BEST endpoint security tool is in fact the antivirus solution and can be installed on laptops, desktops, or servers. It is a fully automated computer security program managed remotely by your network administrator. Once installed, it protects against all kinds of malware, such as ransomware, viruses, spyware, Trojan, network attacks, phishing, and even data theft. It can also be used to enforce your organization's computers and internet use policies. The communication between BEST and the console is made via HTTPS over TCP/IP client computers. Without these particular internet connections, we'll be able to communicate with Bitdefender Cloud and download updates through the relay role. And this actual relay role will be installed along together with BEST and has the ability to perform additional network discovery package deployments. The update server, which also can be used to update all the other clients in that particular network. Our BEST endpoint protection is the agent that we will install on all the endpoints. It is composed of several different modules. The anti-malware is available on Windows, Mac, and Linux, and it is only the module that cannot be disabled. All other modules are Windows only and can be disabled if not needed, or if you wish to reduce the already light footprint of the BEST agent, you can disable other modules. The Advanced Threat Control, or ATC, and our ransomware vaccine are additional anti-malware mechanisms, and we'll discuss these three bullets in additional detail in the following slides. Firewall is a replacement for the Windows firewall. Content control includes application controls such as whitelisting, as well as the ability to block users from going to known phishing sites, and over 50 other web categories such as social networking sites, hacking sites, adult content, etc. Device control allows you to control what type of devices users can connect to their environments. The most common use is blocking external storage such as USB sticks, which could contain malware. Exchange protection, including anti-malware, anti-spam, and as well as attachment and content filtering. Power User is a time-saving feature which allows admins with the correct password to directly override policies on an endpoint without actually having to access the Control Center. Now there are two ways to install BEST. You can launch and install a job directly from the control center. BEST will look for any competing software and it will run a native uninstaller. If there is a password protection, it must be disabled from the competitor's console. The uninstall typically requires a reboot, so the users will get a 5-minute reboot warning. After the reboot, BEST will complete its install and it contacts the communication server to get its policy. And then you're all set. Alternatively, you can also download the executable and distribute it via whatever mechanism you desire, whether SCCM or USB stick, etc. To highlight a little more into the function of BEST with the relay role, let's talk about the steps that we will use when setting this up and installing from this. Now, you can manually install BEST in a relay role on your first machine and then let it do a network discovery. You can then push installs from the relay to the other machines in your network. Please note the network discovery relies on Microsoft browser service, and in some networks this requires a relay on every subnet. Also note that cloud has no visibility into your Active Directory, vCenter, or Xen environments, so you will need to create custom folders and manually group your computers into groups based on how you plan to apply the policies. Because of the lack of integration, Gravity Zone is not aware when you decommission a machine from the Active Directory or your virtual environment. So that machine will just be displayed as being offline until you manually decommission it. For VDI environments or other environments with a lot of change, the integrations become crucial. And in these terms of inventory and license management, these are some things you're going to need to pay attention to. You can access our MSP solution through one of our Bitdefender partners or distributors. You will be given a reserved number of seats based on your needs for that current month. You can then create company accounts for management, at which point you can choose to either reserve a specific number of seats for that company or to use no reservation at all. While using the monthly subscription license type, you will be invoiced based on the total number of active endpoints used during that month. Please note, an endpoint is considered used or active if it has been installed with our endpoint protection on at least one machine during that month. We have two main methods of doing pre- and post-execution scans in Bitdefender Cloud for MSPs. Our local scan means the scanning is performed on the local endpoint. The local scanning mode is suited for powerful machines, having all signatures and engines stored locally on those machines. Hybrid scan with light engines has a medium footprint and is used in cloud scanning and partially the local signatures. This mode brings the benefits of better resource consumption while involving off-premise scanning itself. In regards to our scanning process, we take an adaptive layered approach with an additional layer specific to just ransomware. First, we compare against signatures, which are updated hourly, to detect these known threats. Now, we use also machine learning and multiple other threat databases that we've come together to form these. We use an optimized signature methodology that has allowed us to check only those portions of the file that are of interest. By checking signatures of file fragments, we are even able to detect malware that has been slightly modified so as to avoid traditional signature. Second, we run executable code through our first level of heuristics called Behave and look for suspicious behavior. Now, Behave is an emulated Windows environment and is capable of checking not only native executables, but executable code. And this code can be embedded in other files, such as PDFs. When you double-click a file, you can expect it to open or execute relatively quickly. So Behave must make the decision typically within a few milliseconds. Some malware writers attempt to circumvent the heuristic system, such as these, by time bombing their malware, but they delay any malicious actions for a minute or have an hour or a day after execution to avoid detection. ATC will monitor processes of interest for the entire life of that process. It looks for hundreds of different behaviors of interest and keeps a scorecard on each process it monitors. Once a scorecard has hit a particular threshold, ATC kills the process and can even attempt to reverse any malicious actions that it may or have taken up, such as adding itself to startup or making registry changes in itself there. Now, although most ransomware will be caught by one of these mechanisms, we've developed yet an additional layer of protection specific to ransomware, which we call a ransomware vaccine. And when ransomware infects a machine, it leaves markers to tell other instances of that ransomware to not execute, so as not to interfere with the successful completion of the initial extortion attempt. Now, we take advantage of this behavior by continually cataloging these markers and preemptively placing them on endpoints protected by BES to make them seem as if they're already been infected, thereby causing any malware that looks for those markers to not execute at all. All of these techniques have been extremely effective for us, and they are one of the key reasons why Bitdefender consistently earns high scores with all the independent test labs. Now, with this, we are going to be moving into the demonstration portion of the presentation here. Now, as you can see, we are now into the actual control center itself. There are going to be a couple things we're going to be taking a look at when it comes to management of our machines and our environments and our customers. First, you can see under my network tree that I am set up right now currently as a distributor. So for some partners that are looking at this demonstration, this may not apply to you, but you'll be able to see your own particular environment in here as an example. So your tree would be visible to your particular companies. And those companies you'll be able to see inside there and their groups. And in their groups you'll see their workstations. So your visibility will be a broad range of all your different customers as well as all their workstations and environments inside there. You'll be able to manage their policies, their notifications, even pull reports for them. Now, setting up these users, initially what we have to do is create companies. In order to create these customers, in order to create our partner level accounts, we have to go under the Companies tab. From here we can add them and create them. We can add the company name in here, the address, phone. We can customize particular logos. We can make partner level accounts for partners that will be selling underneath us, or customer accounts for our customers that we'll be managing. Now, we do recommend leaving managed networks on, as well as allowing your partner to assist with security management for this company. And this is just if something is needed to be assisting with that particular customer that you have later on down the road, then the partner or the distributor on your level will actually be able to have visibility to that customer. With this unchecked, the particular partner or distributor above you will have no visibility. Now, we have three different license types to work from. We have the trial, which will actually create a 30-day 45-user trial license, as well as the yearly license subscriptions that you can also sell and add in here. So in here you can add a yearly license key, which will be good for 1, 2, or 3 years. We also, of course, do monthly subscriptions. As we mentioned before, the reserve seats can be placed here. You will have a set amount of seats that will be able to be used, and you can apply them here for those users. You can also disable the reserve, although we do kind of recommend against this, as this will allow that particular user to have as many as they want without a reservation. Now, this check mark here allows the company to actually have exchange protection. So with this unchecked, the options won't be available. With it checked, though, they will be able to utilize the exchange protection, which is added as a separate line item. Now, if you are planning on managing the customer yourself, this is pretty much where we can just hit save and be done with that. If you are planning to give the customer access and have their own administration console to manage themselves in, then we can add a new account in here. This will actually be a unique email that will give them their own cloud account as soon as we hit save. So as soon as we hit save, they will receive an email from Bitdefender with their own administrative credentials to log into their cloud console to start managing it. Now, from here, we can pull some information. We can see different license usages. We can also get notifications and reporting. In the notifications tree, we can be notified on things like malware outbreaks, but we can also know about when licenses are expiring, when usages are about to be reached, or when trials are about to come out for expiration. Now, from here, we can go back into the network section under packages. Generally, how we want to do it is we want to create packages that we want to deploy out for those users. We can create the packages here under the Add Package area. We can name the package accordingly, and we can choose the company tied into it. Now, what we do recommend is that if you do create a company for that particular package, we always recommend that you name that package accordingly with the company's name. Reason being is that if you have created this package, it will tie into that company. So if you accidentally install this package on a different company, those machines would show under the wrong company. Hence why we always recommend making sure the naming convention is equal to the company name itself. Now, you can customize the modules that you wish to install in here. You can also create them as a relay function, or you can set up the exchange protection on the local exchange server. As for the scan modes, they will automatically be adjusted here for local or hybrid scanning, and you can also customize if you want your local machines to run in local or hybrid scanning, your physical machines that is, or your virtual machines to run in local or hybrid scanning. As for installation options, we of course can give the users installation links, and this will actually provide the user, if they have installation rights, a link to the product, and a quick installer will automatically choose 32 or 64-bit and install the product on their machine. You can also choose to download from full kits of Windows, Linux, and Mac, and quick installers for Windows and Linux. Something to note that if you do install our product, regardless of the method that you use, whether it's manual installation here, whether it's utilizing our relay system, or whether it's through a third-party installer, as long as the endpoint actually hits the machine and is on the workstation, you'll be able to protect that machine regardless where that machine is. If it's in another network, if it's around the world, if it's in another country, at a hotel, at home, doesn't matter. Now, coming here from these from the machines and management side, we can also look into the policy, which is going to be the instructions for the machines. Now, it's something to note that you can only have one policy active at a time on a particular machine. But you can have multiple policies. You can have location-based aware policies and policies that may change dependent on if they're inside the network or outside the network. Now when we come in here and add particular policies, you can see in here that we can set up policies to have multiple different things. We can choose notifications, endpoint alerts, even settings like creating password protection settings or power user options in here to give yourself and as an admin the rights to access different policy items on the endpoint. The update allows us to actually handle our product and signature updates separately, which can both be done hourly, daily, or weekly. Updates will always be able to be pulled, though, from the actual endpoint if a relay server can't be found that's utilized as an update server. Now, all your anti-malware settings that we discussed in our scan processes will be here. So our real-time scanning, as well as our post-executional with the advanced threat, and even the ransomware vaccine. The on-demand schedule scanning, we have enabled very low priority scanning. What this means is that we're running on the idle CPU processes of those workstations, and this allows us to run very cleanly on machines even while the user is working on them. The users may not even know that a scan is kicked off because of these idle processes that we're running on. Now, in other settings, we can, of course, set our own exclusions. We have built-in exclusions as well as file, folder extension, and process exclusions, and we can import from an Excel file on these as well. So the firewall will take the place of the Windows firewall, as we mentioned, and we also have preventative modules like content and device control, which has some traffic scan abilities where we can block down particular websites from the users, as well as HTTPS sites and even category filtering. So the category filtering that we mentioned before, where we can block specific categories like social networks, gambling, mature content, proxy sites even. So you can add your own exclusive black and white list to this as well. So you can use these exceptions, or you can create your own sites to allow or block. Now, we also have device control, which is granular level device management, and we can block Bluetooth, phone storage, wireless storage, as well as external storage devices, and we mean all kinds of external storage devices, FireWire, SD card slots, even including USB mass storage devices in here. Exclusions can be made to those from discovered devices or manually adding a device or product ID. Now, also in conjunction with this, we have our reports area where we'll have the ability to not just create reports that we can run now, but reports that we can actually schedule out on a weekly, monthly, yearly, hourly process, depending on the report itself. So you can see different reports may have different schedules to actually take place. So hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, and even yearly when it comes to malware activity, for example. You can show report intervals based on the choices made here. So yearly reports can show last year and this year, and monthly reports can show accordingly. Now, you will also be able to deliver these by multiple email address if you choose to as well. Now, in conjunction with this, any items that get quarantined will stay on the workstations that they get quarantined on, but you'll be able to see those items in here, and you'll be able to delete them or restore the items if necessary. Now for visibility, we will always have our dashboard view where we can see our instant accessible reports. We can actually see up to 9 pages of instant access reports, not just the 4 that are displayed on one page. And you can drill down into these reports actually, interacting with different levels of the report and even drilling down further into the workstation view and seeing different items on the machine as well as the modules that are currently running and even scan logs that need to be seen or managed there. So with this does conclude our Bitdefender demonstration for MSPs and cloud. And with that, thank you very much for attending.